It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so you know what that means. It's another episode of rAVe TV. I am doing this episode mostly solo again, so I'm sorry for any of you who did not like that, but you're not going to like it again. So I wanted to first mention that CEDIA Expo and Commercial Integrator Expo registration is open for both of those shows in 2024. They are the beginning of September, and registration is happening. If you scan that QR code that is going to show up directly below me, you can either go to the CEDIA Expo registration or the Commercial Integrator Expo registration. These shows are co-located, so one registration basically gets you into both places. It's kind of all on one show floor, but either way, we'll get you registered. And can't wait to see you in Denver. We're looking very forward to this show and looking forward to giving you more information as we get a little bit closer. We're a little less than 2 months out, which is crazy. So yeah, excited about it. So first story that I wanted to bring up. So this was done by Gibson Keat, who was on my team. This is a roundup of everything that Microsoft Copilot has had going on. They release updates every month for Microsoft Teams, and they did one for Copilot for May. So we kind of compiled a few of those that we thought were the most interesting or most relevant to you guys. So there's a new AI hub that's designed to support your risk and compliance requirements for AI applications. There are a couple new extensions with Copilot that allow some like customized knowledge for grounding. And then administrators can now act on employee comments and suggestions instantly with Viva Glint. So yeah, there are just a few big updates that we kind of mentioned, and we also included a slide deck that is directly from Microsoft. So if you want to read about every single update, you can also do that instead of reading the things that we compiled. So, you know, to each your own. So we are very lucky, me and Gary. We have a lot of great sponsors and partners who work on rAVe TV with us. One of those is Aver. Aver officially launched its first ceiling-mounted speakerphone system, which is the Phone 700 at InfoComm last month. This audio solution has 18 built-in microphones and advanced AI features. It also integrates with Aver AV products and supports connections for 2 cameras, a display, an external speaker, and Bluetooth devices, and is expandable. So you can add just a couple more speakerphones or however many you want for longer or larger room sizes. If you want more information, you can scan that QR code, but we actually have a product video from this at InfoComm that we're going to show you as well. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Carl Harvell. I am with Aver, and we are at InfoComm 2024. We're going to show off to you guys the Phone 700. This device is a second generation of speakerphone, I guess you could say. It is a ceiling mountable speakerphone. It has a mic array in it with beamforming microphones. Great thing about this device is that it has network connectivity in the back, or an RJ45 cat cable that goes directly to this hub here, which is the connector for not only providing power but data through that RJ45 to the speakerphone. This device will allow you to connect up to 2 more cameras, allow a monitor connection, as well as the PC connectivity for the compute or a BYOD solution. You could expand out to 3 more of the speakerphones, so you could get 4 total. Great device for the $1,699.99 price point. If you guys want some more information, definitely go to averusa.com.
And I'm back. Hi, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. So for this next segment, I don't want to talk to myself anymore, so I'm going to bring on Paul Konikowski, who is at Kronos, but who has also been a member of our blog squad for a few years now. Paul, what's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's good to see you again. I'm glad to be back.
Good to see you. Nice shirt, by the way. Love the Taylor Swift reference that probably no one else is going to get. Everyone else is like, oh, are those serial killer letters? No, that's like one of the most iconic bridges letters of her entire discography, some would
Yeah,
say.
I don't like to give away too many clues. A lot of people ask me what it is, and then I kind of hint that it's a song off the new album, and I try to leave it there. But one of my friends was really bugging me about it. He was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's not going to make any sense unless you go listen to the album. Like, if I just tell you the name of the song, it just
Some might say the song is a little, Some might say.
Yeah.
And we'll just let the AV tweeps figure that out. Y'all like figuring out puzzles and things. So if y'all are watching this, you can just do some Googling.
Yeah, put it put your answer in the comments, and you'll win our respect.
Well, I'll allow you to enter the unofficial AV Swiftie fan club. So
yes.
that's your prize. So first of all, we didn't really get to talk that much while we were at InfoComm, but I know you wrote a couple of pieces for us just about your experience and about the cybersecurity products that were there or cybersecurity trends. Do you feel like there were more cybersecurity solutions at this year's InfoComm than there have been in years past?
It was a lot about AI. I did find, and I don't, I'm very skeptical. I mean, I think AI is the way of the future, but I'm very skeptical in terms of, honestly, our industry embracing it, because we tend to dive in and get things working before we think about the consequences of such. And, so in terms of security, getting back to your original question, I did find some good solutions, and there's been a lot of talk about TAA compliance, which is making sure it's American made, because there is worry about the manufacture of chips, and the military. What I'm finding is that the military is really guiding a lot of those requirements, because if you're not playing by their rules, you can't fall into their projects. And so I am seeing a lot of companies applying that, but other times I've had people sort of scratching their heads, or when I ask them about things like logging, they say, what why would I need a log trail of what's happened? So yes and no. Certain manufacturers I saw a little bit more of, for sure.
Well, something that you mentioned in the article was that X10 was talking about logging, and you mentioned in your article that you feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword. Why is that?
Well, it's a double-edged sword because if you have logs, let's say the positive things of logs, if you have logging that goes on, that allows you to look and see if anyone has messed with the project or has done anything else to the configuration of your system. And that's a requirement in a lot of secure environments, is the ability to check and see if anyone's kind of done anything. But if those logs aren't kept in a safe place, if you can't really guarantee the integrity of those logs, and also you can, in a way, use those logs, to attack the person who's using the device. So if let's bring it down to something you might know. Let's say your television or something, right? Let's say your television or your Netflix account or something like that has a log to it somewhere, and you yourself are wondering, did someone mess with my account? Did someone mess with my TV settings? You could go in and look and say, oh, it looks like my roommate watched this last night or something. There is that sort of history that within Netflix and these other accounts. But if someone else gets access to that log, then they can see what you watched.
Right.
And also, if those logs aren't kept in a safe place and you put a lot of faith in them, one of the first things that attacker will try to do, not the first thing, sorry, one of the last things they'll try to do is try to erase the log that shows that they've been in the system. So you kind of have to secure the log as well. But yeah, some companies, X10 didn't really have much of logging. When I asked about it, they said, oh, you can leave a note for another engineer or something like that. But other companies had it. And I think that's something that's very simple, that AV companies can start doing is allowing for logs. And then the question is, how long do you keep it for? Is about 2 weeks is usually
standard.
Kind of, it's, yeah, well, how long you keep it steady, because the data grows too. So much like other backups or other systems, backing it up to tape. So if you have a log backup that's 2 weeks of local on the device, but it's constantly backed up to somewhere else, then you can find an intruder's been in there longer than 2 weeks, or not. So
right. Okay.
Logs are important.
What were some of the most interesting cybersecurity features that you saw? Did you see anything with AI that really floored you? Or do you feel like right now all of that is like more of a nuisance than it's worth, if that makes sense?
Sure. One of the better features I saw was with Barco, who had certain AV over IP type devices, which there's a number of them on the market right now. And a lot of people don't think of what a malicious actor can do. So in any, without taking the brands away, there's a lot of brands out there that if I buy, and the transcoder they're called, which is half encoder, half decoder, half transmitter, half receiver. If I buy one of those on eBay, and I go into a building or campus, and I basically point it at the right stream, I can listen to what's being broadcast over the network.
Okay.
And anyone with that device can go do that. It's sort of like cable television back in the day. You could hook up just split out the cable and hook up a cable box or a tuner. Barco had a different approach where each device had its own handshaking, and when you set up the system, it had its own certificate. So you couldn't just add in a rogue device. My friend calls it crypto as a, what does he call it? Crypto as something where you're decoding without someone else knowing. So that's a good approach, and I really wish people in AV would put on that, I call it put on the bad actor hat just for a minute and think, well, what if someone wanted to listen? It's a little bit too easy to spread A and V around without thinking, or even your cameras. We leave a camera in the classroom. How easy is it for someone to tap into that? In a classroom, maybe you don't have to worry about it as much, but other rooms you can. In terms of AI, I think everyone is jumping on board, kind of much like the metaverse was a few years ago.
God.
Where,
yeah.
Right, eye roll, right?
Yeah. It was just too much, like with the metaverse. It was too obviously a weird trend,
Right. And it's like, we're in a virtual room now, but we're not avatars.
No.
I'm not walking over and sitting at your desk like they told us we would be, and we would all be feeling like we're in the same room. But AI
they were trying to bring Second Life back. Like there's a reason why like people stopped using that too.
So I think AI is it's much bigger than that, and it does have the future, but I'm very reluctant to use it. I saw one presenter talking about using it for quotes or for answering an RFI.
Sure.
And back 10 years ago, only certain companies could answer those RFIs well. If you really weren't qualified, you couldn't say you were qualified. This makes it much easier to do so. Now it's going to save you time, but it's just, they're putting a lot of faith in that sort of work. One of the more interesting AI applications I saw, it didn't work great. It was sort of in that we're demoing it, but it's not quite working, was from Merlin Mind. That showed up in a couple booths, and that's a education-based AI product.
Okay.
That allowed for like teachers to like search for certain terms very quickly online. Talking about koala bears or something, they could find more content on it within a safe pre-screened space. So you weren't just going out into the internet and finding random stuff.
Okay, I could definitely see that is like a good use. Like there are plenty of good use cases for that. And I like that they have pre-thought about like, okay, not just putting out this request loose onto the internet when you're like in a school.
Right.
So.
And I think that's the future of, from what I hear with AI, not the far future, but the near future, is that instead of going out to these large language models, these ChatGPTs of the world, that we're going to have much more controlled, localized systems, agents, I think they're called, that are not maybe some on the internet, but more something that downloads to your local system, your local device, and then just for what you need for that day, because we may not all need to know about all these different languages or different aspects, and that's going to bring down the computing power needed for AI. But that's it's still evolving, and
at like a really terrifying rate. Some would say.
And it's again, is anyone stopping? I mean, some people are stopping to think what could go wrong, but I think AV is often the last person to think about what could go wrong, or privacy, or if you're using facial recognition, is it treating people equally? Is it labeling people the wrong way or picking people up the wrong way? And the studies have shown that when they've done this in the past, it tends to favor certain skin tones, and it's scary. People have been mislabeled as criminals because they match a description. So I'm getting off on a tangent, but it's not all it's not all a happy place.
Right.
I'm a little
and
bit reluctant.
My next question is, it's kind of open-ended. Like, do you think that in AV we're starting to see people within the AV industry stop thinking of things as like, that's not my problem? Because like we saw that when AV and IT were kind of starting to converge, the AV folks were like, IT is not my problem. We're seeing that a little bit with cybersecurity and physical security, and getting the AV folks to like care about that. Do you feel like we're starting to see them realize why things are their problem, or no?
Probably some people.
Yeah.
Probably some. And you're absolutely right. We'll put it on the network. Well, what about the network performance? Right. Well, that's not my problem. Someone else will. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So that's, you start to say, well, that's not, or network AV security, another great topic. Well, that's network security. A lot of people think that's network security, that's someone else's issue, when we're the ones with the camera. You know what I mean? We're the ones, and when we get into security and AI, we have to think about privacy. And that's something a lot of people just in audio video don't think about. They think, well, look how many faces I can count, and I can track this person's voice. And it's like, well, where's that? Who's doing the tracking, and who's processing that voice? If that's going over to another country where we have a government security concern, there's other countries that insist on owning that data. We may not want to broadcast our video conferences around the globe. There might be sensitive topics, there might be intellectual property. But AV's like, let's go,
this is just technological advancement. Let's just use it. Not ask questions later.
Right. Many of them are rebranding products from overseas and calling it their own without actually knowing what the chips might have backdoors in them, or where that's going. Even simple video conferencing like we're using now, I think this is stateside, but some of them go to servers overseas. And let me ask you this: do you know what country's listening to us right now? I mean, this is pre-recorded and we're going to broadcast it, but we don't really know where this stream is going.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I guess I'm glad I don't really say anything private because everything that I'm saying is meant to be broadcast. But I see your point for sure. Like when you're thinking about streaming something, like, okay, where is the stream living? Like who could potentially have access to that? How locked down is that? So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and how equitable is it? How is it treating everyone equally is the next step. But I don't think people think about that very much.
Yeah.
You know, or even voice recognition. I heard something, oh, we're going to have voice tracking and automatic focus of people. And okay, you know, does it work with a group that has a strong accent, you know, or English as a second language?
Right.
Is it not? Is it, if there's a person in the conference that's English as a second language speaker, is the camera system going to pick them up as much as you or I?
Yeah.
Talking in our white voices here, you know, our American Northern and Southern voices,
Right.
it may not pick them. Even in the States, there's parts of the States I can't understand people myself. You know, like I travel around certain parts of the country. I'm like, well, you need to slow down, and because I don't understand what you're saying. Is AI going to be prioritizing people who have clear, you know, television style voices while ignoring those with more urban or more rural voices? It's a, you know, is anyone actually thinking about that?
Can it account for every single accent that exists?
Right, or at least treat them equally. Does it know that I'm featuring this person and not featuring that person?
Yeah.
Even male versus female.
Yeah.
You know, is it better at one than the other?
Right. Does it pick up on people's implicit like biases?
Or non-binary, I should throw that in there too.
Yeah.
So is it treating everyone right? And if it's programmed by humans who are naturally biased, who's checking to undo that? You know, is there an ethics? How many AV companies have like an ethics coordinator or an ethics engineer?
How many? Probably not many.
Right, less than those that have security engineers or privacy engineers. Probably.
So basically, we should all be worried. Everyone should just be really, really worried.
Maybe I listened to too many of those audiobooks that, you know, I just listened to one that said, "This is how the world ends." So
yeah, literally. So
tell me the world ends. So
be worried is what you guys should take from our conversation.
You know,
be
afraid. Back. Don't rush it to market, is what I would say. You know, take a step back and think about it before you
do some research. Like do some actual research
and have someone test your stuff. You know, have a third party look at it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Paul. My last question I have for you is where can people get in touch with you if they would like to continue the conversation, ask you any questions, be your friend on LinkedIn? What's the easiest way for people to connect with you? LinkedIn
is a good place to start. It's a good professional network, and they could reach out to me there. I'm also been made into a Avixa Exchange advocate recently.
Nice.
So that's the Avixa social network, and so they can find me on the Avixa Exchange.
Very cool. Well, Paul, thank you so much for hopping on with me early this morning to chat. I had a good time.
It's always good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, so let's continue on here. We've got some news, but before I deliver the news to you guys, let's talk about another one of our sponsors and partners here on rAVe TV, Legrand AV. And Legrand is going to have me share a case study with you guys this time that is all about how they made the dream work with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is I would say the biggest video conferencing and more platform that is used in our industry. So definitely check this out. They talk about how Microsoft is continuing to innovate for the hybrid workforce and how Legrand's products came in and within this case study really made this Microsoft Teams room, like really made it pop, really made it great and user-friendly. So go and check that out and check out all of the Legrand products used. So hope you guys enjoy that. Continuing on, Jabra actually released some research lately that I thought was super interesting. So this whole study that Jabra released details the impact that audio has on the performance of office culture. So obviously we know that audio is important, but it talks about how much it affects the people in an open workspace if someone is just taking calls loose on their speakers while other people are in there trying to work. I will say we do not really do that at rAVe because we work in a room where we are all very tightly confined. So we all, like, for the most part, leave the room if we're taking a call, and definitely don't do it like loose over the speakers. So it talks about like how deeply that affects people, that it is not just like affecting productivity in a poor way, but it really like it's even bad for like mental health and everything else. So, and mental well-being. So definitely go and read this full study. I found it super interesting. And we linked to the full study in the story that we wrote up about it. So check it out. I thought it was just like really interesting and wanted to bring it up. So continuing, we have been talking a lot about AI lately, but I kind of feel like after we left InfoComm, there's just a lot left to say about AI after how much it was heavily featured in all of the products and all of the education and everything at InfoComm. I just feel like we're really trying to find our way with it here. If you take anything else from that conversation I just had with Paul, take that from it. So Bob Snyder, who, you know, rAVe Europe, that's our guy. He wrote the Rainbow AI, and he kind of coined this term to refer to the stage that we are at with AI adoption. He calls it the AI rainbow. And he kind of calls it this because AI is not only like reshaping and redefining the pro AV landscape, but it's reaching and redefining many landscapes like in our industry and beyond. So he's talking about how we're so focused on the specific that we are kind of missing the top-down view of what AI is potentially doing, what it can do. So definitely go and check that out, because he kind of talks about a little bit about what Paul was saying, that there's going to be 1,000, a million, a bajillion, scientific term, flavors of AI, and each one is going to be tapered to super specific end user needs. Right now, we're just kind of throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks. But this is what happens with any, you know, major advancement in technology. Things are just thrown at a wall, and then we get hyper specific and more helpful to certain people's needs as they continue to, you know, innovate and expand on what they're able to do. So definitely check this article out. Bob has a lot of great points that I think echo a lot of what Paul was saying as well. So some product news. Extron is now shipping the Fox 3 Matrix 560X. So this is a modular fiber optic matrix switcher. So it's got high performance switching of 4K, 60 video, audio, USB control, and a 3D sync. I think it's over fiber optic cable. It's expandable from 8x8 up to 560 to 560, hence 560X. And Extron says the security standards and gigabit Ethernet ports also ensure compatibility with its IPCP control processors and its TouchLink Pro control panels. So definitely go and check it out. You can find out more at ravepubs.com, or if you scan the QR code, it has the full story there. So before I continue on in my last couple of minutes, check out this spot from our last sponsor and partner, Sure. Okay, so let's just go through the last couple pieces of news here. So the first one I wanted to bring up was about AirZone. So now it's part of the Samsung SmartThings ecosystem, which is cool. So this is AirZone Control basically partnered with SmartThings to allow its HVAC control and zoning solutions to be part of the SmartThings ecosystem. So this collaboration just makes it possible to connect any of its HVAC units from any leading manufacturer to SmartThings, just kind of allowing you a little bit more control over your home without having to have a million. I think Gary and I have talked about this before, that having a smart home is actually quite infuriating because you have to have an app for every little thing. You can't just control every single thing via Alexa or Google Home or whatever Apple's component of that is. So it's kind of actually difficult to have everything being smart. You have to be very smart to be able to remember what controls what and have all of these different apps on your phone and doing all of this. So I think that this is just an attempt to make one of those pieces a little bit easier. So go and check out that full story at ravepubs.com if you would like to read the full extent of the partnership. Next story. So Sennheiser's Team Connect or TC bars are Zoom certified now, which is very cool. When something is certified for Zoom Rooms, it just means that it is guaranteed to work and integrate very easily with a Zoom Rooms setup. So this certification is going to allow Zoom users to conduct their hybrid meetings or in-person meetings with Sennheiser audio and 4K video. So it's just supposed to make it that much easier to connect to Zoom and just get your meeting started. So if you are in the market or one of your clients is in the market for a Zoom certified video bar, check it out. ravepubs.com is the full story. So Planar introduced a 122-inch touch version of its Ultra-Res L series. So this is, quite a big display. You can kind of see in this picture that's going to pop up behind me or beside me. This display is designed to support small to medium-sized conference rooms and classrooms, because even though it's 122 inches, it is just made for, not your giant boardroom, because you're going to want to see everything that's happening. So with touch, it makes it a little better for classrooms, so it can kind of be used as an IFP in that way as well. So they also, I think, have a 109-inch model as well. So check out the full story, ravepubs.com once again. So case study of the week. I like to bring these up sometimes. So this is the Luanda Science Center, and it needed some 4K technology and also some Dolby Atmos technology. So they actually put in a couple of Christie Griffin RGB pure laser projectors and some, I think it's pronounced Vive audio speakers, Vive, to deliver its educational content. And then a couple of other, I think, Christie D20WUHS 1DLP laser projectors for outdoor video mapping on its building's facade. So check it out. Christie pretty much did it up. And I think Christie, again, inside its theater, put another projector in. So if you want to see all of the Christie projectors and everything that were used to make this museum and center a little bit better and upgrade all of its tech, go and read that full case study. So finally, I just wanted to bring up a few of the virtual events that we have coming up here at rAVe, if you guys would like to join them. First one is, here's how you can learn how to create the ultimate meeting room audio experience. We're doing this with ADI. It is going to be July 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can register by scanning the QR code. It's going to be about an hour. And it's going to be all about, a little bit about what I was talking about. Why is audio so important in meeting rooms, and what can you do to create the ultimate meeting room experience. We've been saying for years that you can have a meeting with no video, but if you have a meeting with no audio, like, good luck. So why is that so important? How do you use audio in the best way to make the best meeting possible in your space? Join this. You're going to want to. So next up, we have an AV IRL, which is basically like a video and interview and event version of a case study, because we are talking specifically about the Talking Stick Resort and how it has a brand new lobby, and all about how OpenEye Global helped make its lobby such a cool experience. If you scan that, it's also approved for a CTS or CTS DRU. So if you need one of those, you're going to want to come. It's very, very cool. And OpenEye Global really did a great job with this lobby. We have a few pictures on the registration page if you scan it. So you're definitely going to want to come to this. I am really excited to hear about maybe some of the challenges they went through. How do they choose what content to show on this really, really cool, like, ceiling forced perspective screen? It's going to be so cool. So definitely come. Finally, we are previewing CIX. If you are on the fence about attending Commercial Integrator Expo, you are going to want to attend this, check it out, learn a little bit about what's going to be there. We're interviewing manufacturers, we're interviewing people who are going to be there, we're interviewing a few people who are going to provide sessions. So we're going to basically just give you a lowdown about what is going to go on at the show. So join us on July 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern again, and it's going to be an exclusive preview. It's going to be me, it's going to be Gary, it's going to be Megan Dutta, and we are all working hard to give you a accurate preview of what's going to go on at this show. And it's going to be really fun. So I hope you guys will join us for that too. If you want to join any of them or learn more about what will go on, just go ahead and scan that QR code in my bottom left, and that will take you to really anything I talked about today. So hope you enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you next time. Happy Wednesday.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.